I'm David Levin, and welcome to another perspicacious episode of Pop Goes the Culture, the behind-the-scenes TV stories you wouldn't have known unless you were there. On this second-to-last chapter in our conversation, Debbie Allen talks about developing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, starring a young Will Smith, and behind the scenes of the creation of the new opening titles to a different world. Let's talk about Fresh Prince. How did they approach you to do that? And walk me through that. You know, the meeting Will Smith. I mean, anything that's sort of like relevant to it. Just.
Well, I heard about the show, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I had just directed a pilot for ABC called The Boys, a musical, which was amazing, but they didn't pick it up. And NBC was very endeared to me. I'd been there with Fame, and now I was doing Different World. And they said, well, we want you over here with us. So I said, okay. So it was like the hottest pilot in town. My agent, Sam Haskell, really networked that whole thing, navigated that. And again, there I was in the middle of a battle. There were the Borowitzes, and there was Benny Medina. And I don't know quite, it seemed like the concept of the show was Benny's idea, and Will Smith was one of his artists. The Borowitzes were the writers. And you know, there's a technical union that says if you write it, you create it. But then it was his idea. So there was a lot of stuff going on that really didn't have to do with us about who was the real creator of the show. And I was in on those meetings, and the cast was already done. The cast was already done when I got there. And Quincy Jones was a big part of it, and he really helped keep the peace a lot. But then once the show got going, he just wasn't available to be there all the time, but he was a big factor. I remember sitting at the table with Brandon Tartikoff and Warren Littlefield and Quincy Jones, the Borowitzes, Benny Medina. Oh my God. And it was, I was just watching kind of how the bullets were flying, but then it got more subdued because we had a job to do. And Will Smith was so adorable and so engaging. You knew you were looking at someone that was going to be a major star in a big, even bigger way, because he had that personality. He was that, you have to love me. You meet him and he's like, you have to love me. That's who he is.
Yeah, total charm.
Charm.
Total charm.
Total charm. And would do anything. Would try anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a fun show.
It was a fun show, and I even named his mom Vivian. That's my mom's name and my daughter's name, because they were trying to think of a name. I said, Vivian, and they named her Vivian. That's why his mom, and I remember the casting. We had casting sessions when we found the butler, because there were American actors, but Warren was really in Brandon. You know, it was something about having a real Englishman instead of someone that could act that part. And that's when we found him. He was so wonderful.
Show open for that show was great too. Just like kids just don't, parents just don't understand. It was like a reflection of that. The whole sort of him rapping the show. Did you have any?
Oh yeah, the opening. That was one of his songs. Yeah, that was his video. I think that was the show that kind of started, because he had done that song, and that became what the show was about.
Right.
I think he'd already done that song.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He'd already done that song.
Did you direct the video?
No, it was already done.
How about the opening to A Different World? Because that was kind of
Yeah.
really cool. Were you involved with that?
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
great.
Yeah, we should have been nominated for those titles. That motion control camera. Karen Mondabaugh came to me one day in my office and said, Debbie, we got to do these titles. We got to do something. And she played a video for me that had the concept of this motion control. She said, what could we do with that? I said, okay, I'll go to work. And so I designed this and got Aretha Franklin. I talked her into singing the title song. And those titles were jamming. It just became very, like a little video, very now.
It was similar to the, I think that Elton John video.
Yes, that's what she showed me. Yeah, that motion control.
Could you say that to me?
Yeah, what Karen Mondabaugh came into my office one day and said, Deborah, we have to redo these titles. And she said, I want to show you something. And she showed me the Elton John video that had this motion control concept. And I said, oh yeah, I can work this. So I worked out the scenario of what everybody was doing, from Whitley to the band to, the graduates, everything, Sinbad.
How hard was that to shoot?
It was not so difficult. It just takes time because you have to change clothes every time. Or, the motion control, you design it so that the camera racks focus to here, it's moving, it's going to focus here, then it's going to focus there, then here, then there. So you have 3 different things, and so you have to shoot each one. And so you have the same person 3 times in the shot, and you still see them because it's like a split screen, but it's in motion. It's really wonderful.
What's the reaction to that? What was the reaction to the titles when you?
Oh, people loved the titles. They just loved it. And Aretha singing it, it was the bomb.
What's the matter? Phoebe Snow's no good?
Yeah. No, we like Phoebe. We like Phoebe, but we just had to make it a little more now for what the time was at that moment. So that was a big deal.
Titles are really important.
They are they introduce the show. It's when the audience decides I'm going to watch. They can just quickly tune out. Boring. You see a lot. You get the sense of who's in the show, the feel of the show. Titles are very important, and so is the music.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale. Next time, we wrap up my conversation with the legendary Debbie Allen talking about The Cosby Show, her guest appearance on that show opposite her real-life sister, Felicia Rashad, plus In the House with LL Cool J. Till then, let me know what you think about the conversation so far, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. If you've ever dreamt of being a talk show host and talking face-to-face with your favorite celebrities, don't forget to check out Ask Them Yourself, most Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. Ouch. Ooh.